Welcome back. This is the 711L Tools PenDriver TS, and it's a unique, cool, and weird offering that I think makes a lot of sense for the right person. Disclaimer: 711L Tools sent me the product for free to review, but my opinions are my own. It comes with this keychain holder, which a lot of people really like this keychain holder. It comes with this lanyard cap, and it comes with the driver. It weighs 35 grams or about 1.2 ounces. They make a TS and a TG version. As far as I can tell, the only difference is aesthetics, and the lanyard cap on this one that has a little lanyard hole is just a regular cap on the TG version. The TG version is also cheaper and it's a bit thicker in this region here. So we'll start with this end right here. It holds 4mm precision bits, and it holds them really securely. The magnet is very strong, and the magnet also transfers through. I have this precision bit driver, and it comes with double-ended precision bits, and they unfortunately do not fit in there because the hole is not deep enough. That's just something to be aware of. You cannot use double-ended precision 4mm bits with this. Okay. However, when you take out the lanyard cap, you can put it back here for storage, which I really like that. And you can put regular bits in here. Here is a double-ended 1/4-inch bit, and it holds that no problem. But it's a good fit. The magnet, again, is very strong, transfers right through. It also holds Leatherman bits, no problem, in either orientation. So one of the cool things about this double-ended bit driver holder is that it holds all sorts of other different double-ended bit drivers. So this is the Klein Tools 2-in-1 rapid driver screwdriver. I've reviewed it on my channel. And this takes double-ended bits that have a ball detent because there is no magnet inside of here. Now this holds it just fine. It works in either direction, holds really strongly, and again, transfers the magnet through. So if you have a bunch of these Klein double-ended bits that have the ball detent, they will actually work in this, which I think is really cool. Other double-ended bits that I have are the Steinwell double-ended bits, and these guys are only about 0.8-inch long, so they're actually really tiny. So it will fit in there, but as you can see, it's a tight fit, and for some of them, you're going to need some pliers to get this out, depending on which orientation, of course, that you put in that. So that's just something to know if you are rocking the Steinwell bits. So one of the things you should know is that it can be bent into an L shape. This can provide leverage and torque for tight screws. So with the precision bit 4mm, you would grab this side, and vice versa, the same right here. They only have 90-degree indents. This is really cool, but I wish that they had 45-degree indents so that it bent kind of like this, as it'd feel a bit more ergonomic. One thing to be aware with the L shape is that when you're using it for the 1/4-inch bit, depending on how big your knuckles are, it can be a bit fiddly. Your knuckles can be in the way, so you can't quite reach something maybe, depending on what you're going for, without dragging your knuckles. So you might want some sort of bit extender if you're going to use the L shape this way. With the lanyard cap, one of the cool things about that is if I take this out, it can act almost like a sort of rotating end cap, very similar to their lollipop bit driver. When you're using this, you're holding the back right there and you're twisting this, is essentially what I'm doing right here. And so I'm holding the lanyard hole and I'm twisting it like this. So I'm pretty confident you can do that with the PenDriver TG version, and because there's a bit more material on the TG version, it's probably easier to do this on that version, but I really like that, and especially when you switch it around, because it goes into there, it's actually easier on this side because there's more material to grab onto, and this actually makes a really nice little rotating end cap to be able to hold on to as you drive something in. I really, really like this feature, the fact that this can be held on to while that's being driven with just your finger right there in either orientation. Now, if you don't care for the lanyard cap, you can carry it with a precision 4mm bit and a double-ended bit. One thing I want to point out is that while a bit extender will work great here, if, say, for example, you want to put it there, you actually can't. So they did not make this deep enough, and we'll go more into that in the future, but it just does not touch the magnets there. And even if they do, because so much of that material is removed to make way for the 4mm hole, it just won't impact and connect to the magnet here. And same thing goes for their Lollipop bit driver. You can hear it. So it wants to connect, but it just doesn't. Okay. And that's unfortunate because I think that it would be a cool idea for an extension. Here is a banana for scale. Please subscribe. When I saw those little tiny detents down here, it reminded me of the detents on the bottom of their inline hex ratchet driver. And the reason those detents are there is because this works with Klein flip sockets. And it works really well, it's great, and I find it very interesting that they have double detents right there as well. And my first thought was, will this work with Klein flip sockets? Now obviously it's not going to work very well because it's not as long, but I figured I'd give it a try. And the long and short of it is it does not work with Klein flip sockets. However, it will actually work with the two largest Klein flip sockets. Now, I don't know why this would be something you would want to do, but in a pinch, you could make it work with the largest metric and the largest SAE flip sockets. So that's just something to think about. 7-Eleven makes some interesting little tiny everyday carry ratchets, and I even have one here by Chrome. And I'm going to discuss how these interact with this, because I feel like carrying something like this might be something somebody wants to do. One cool thing is that this will work in there no problem. Okay, so you can, technically speaking, have your Leatherman bits here and this will work. Okay, another really cool, interesting thing is that because you have that hole right there, you can still have that in there. So I don't know why you might want to, but if there's a place where you need to hold the bit driver, you can do something like that. It's very interesting. Who knows where this silly combination of things might actually help you out. Now with their flex head shaft, it has the 1/4 inch male, and it will work just fine. Okay, though you have to be careful how you put it in there, because if I put it in, just rotate it one more time, if I'm rotating against something hard, it might fold like that. So you want to make sure that you put it on the angle there, so you have less of a chance of it folding when you're using it as an extension in this way. However, with this bit driver, it has the 1/4 inch holder, and that will not work again with this, which is really unfortunate. Because I feel like, again, some people might want to carry these together. So I wish this was a little bit longer. Now, of course, it's going to work with this no problem on this side, but see how tough that was for me to get in? It's the dimensions on this are really fine. But again, their extensions do not work there. And on that note, I have found that some of these 1/4 inch hex to 1/4 inch socket adapters won't work properly because they don't actually reach the bottom here and they don't fully touch the magnet in there. So I've already briefly mentioned the 7-Eleven inline ratchet driver, which I think is something else somebody might consider carrying with this, because if you combine these together, it could be a cool little option that together takes up very little space to give you a screwdriver that arguably you could put a lot of torque into. That being said, while it works great in this configuration, it will not work this way. And if you look, at least on my model, the way the magnet is on there, if you watch that little tiny screw, which is attached to the magnet inside, when I put this in there, it actually pushes it away. So they're actually opposite poles, right? So these aren't going to work together in this direction. And you might think, why would I want it to work together in this direction? Well, one of the use cases they've shown with this ratchet driver is that you can have it like this and have an adapter right there to do that. Now, unfortunately, this isn't going to work together unless you really just hold it in there like so. And that is a possibility. That is something you could do. I understand why they can't make sure that all the poles here and there are the same. Um, so, I wish that they were both kind of trying to magnet each other together. And maybe I wish that this was a bit longer and maybe there's more surface material. But I'm pretty confident that there's certain design constraints that they just couldn't make that pairing work. Um, and if you're wondering what I'm talking about, you can still do something like this where you have that combination to use these, which is again something that they show on their website. So I'm not making that up. Overall, for a very lightweight, dedicated everyday carry screwdriver option, this thing is awesome. It feels solid. I mean, it's just a solid piece of metal and it feels well made. And I think it would stand up to a decent hard wear and tear. And if you're looking for something really compact for your everyday carry and something like one of these ratchet drivers isn't for you, this thing is pretty great. I think so far this is probably 7-Eleven Tools' most innovative tool so far, but my personal favorite tool that they make so far is their Lollipop Bit Driver. I really love this thing, and you can check out my review of this thing here. Thanks for watching.